Salamana Warriors, what is up, guys? YouTube. I'm excited to bring you a video about my league start for Path of Exile. I know my last several videos are primarily Magic the Gathering, which they'll continue to be. But this new league, Metamorph, that Path of Exile has dropped has been just so addicting for me recently that I had to make some content. So going into this league, I thought to myself, okay, they've got new endgame bosses. Atlas mechanics are different. I want to make a boss hitting character, and this is before like we knew what the different metas and stuff like that's going to be. I looked at the various different build concepts, patch notes and whatnot, and I actually decided to go Bane. I wanted something that provides a lot of survivability as well as the ability to drop a Bane on a boss and then focus more on the bossing mechanics, meaning that these are new bosses being introduced. I wanted to learn them in a sense. None of us have actually fought them yet, and I wanted to learn the ropes. So being able to just drop Bane on there and then run around and figure out what's going on, dodge what needs to be dodged, and then if I don't have to dodge anything, I have a secondary with Soul Rend, being able to just hit them even more damage. So far it's proven to be excellent. I've cleared every single piece of endgame content with this character itself. Sirus, Elder, Shaper, all the Guardians, all the Conquerors, at Siri, everything I've cleared. Level 95 right now. Survivability is really high. What I will say is, compared to a lot of other builds that are going on right now, the DPS isn't like, I'm not one-shotting these bosses. However, I'm at least killing them and surviving. I mean, you can't kill a boss if you're dead. Well, I guess with this particular character it is feasible because damage over time. But anyway, without further ado, let's kind of go ahead and just drop straight into it. So gear wise, during the leveling process, soon about around the time I got to maps, I went ahead and picked up a Breath of the Council. Like I said, I didn't know how much time I'm gonna need during these boss fights, and it provides a solid damage over time boost, as well as primarily the increased duration, which means you can drop Bane and you have even more time. You can just kind of run around and figure out, maybe just Soul Rend if you want. But after kind of learning the ropes and stuff like that, I realized I don't really necessarily need that much damage over time duration. So I went ahead and crafted. I personally crafted this one. I feel pretty proud of, where I'm able to scale both chaos damage over time multiplier. Let's be fair, the fire res is kind of a dead mod on here, but everything else is pretty solid. And then you're not really unique required. I went Shav's wrappings primarily because of Pain Attunement. Pain Attunement provides 30% more spell damage, and what's important about that is the word more in there is significantly greater than increase. It was 30% increased spell damage, and then honestly we could probably be looking at other chests, but at 30% more is another like 80,000 damage over time for this build, and we're already pushing just shy of 500,000. So here's our POB for it. We're at 491,000 damage over time. Like I said, it's not like one-shotting T16s, but it's getting them dead at the end of the day, and then you're able to survive long enough with our ES. And so let's kind of go into that a little bit. We're pushing about 9.4k ES. There's no 10k mark, but we're at least not getting one shot. I'm also running a Val discipline for that oh no button. You can hit it and then recharge your ES really fast. We got down here our totem. I'm running Wither. I'm kind of contemplating some other ideas I have. We get Wither already from our Ascendancy, but it stacks up to 15, so I kind of want to get those stacks up really quick. So I've just been dropping on there, and honestly, to be honest, with the amount of purple that goes on the screen, Wither's kind of nice to be able to see exactly where the boss is at, so you know where you're hitting. And then Soul Rend, I've actually got socketed in my Vertex. Now granted, there's various different types of rare helms you could run. The 299 flat ES I'm getting from Vertex is pretty solid, and if you have the currency to spend, running it Series Mirror, Series Reflection, which is like, I'm pretty sure is like 30 Exalt right now. If you don't have 30 Exalt, then by all means a rare ES shield. This one's giving me 272. Works just fine. In fact, in its series reflection, we'd probably lose just a little bit of ES, but we would also gain a good amount of damage over time, as well as the ability to not be cursed. And kind of going into that is map modifiers. We can actually run any map modifier, minus, I would say, cannot regen, life, ES, mana. I don't run those because we don't have leech or anything. Outside of that, you can run any of them. I personally don't like to run things like chilled ground and temp chains just because they're a real pain, but they can be done. And they actually kind of help with certain other aspects, but we're not going to get into that. And I don't run Witchfire Brew. I haven't done the math yet as far as, so I've got a 2120 to spare linked to Bane right now. And being that monsters that are affected by the curse that Bane applies scales Bane, I'm not 100% certain as to whether or not the flask itself, that version of Despair, when it replaces this Despair, if that's going to take away the damage from Bane. Granted, that flask also provides chaos damage over time multiplier itself, so that could also pan out. Like I said, I haven't done the math on that yet. So Rumi's Concoction, we actually are getting some damage from that, being that we do take Arcane Swiftness, 5% increased spell damage per 5% chance to block attack damage, and we're at 15% here, so it's about 15% increased damage. And then if we run like a perfectly rolled flask, we can get another 5%, as well as it's giving us defense as well, 3000 armor. I mean, that's kind of what we're running the build for, is survivability, right? All right, so without further ado, let's kind of go into a little bit of the play style. And please bear with me, I'm currently leveling a Cyclone on the side right now, so you're gonna notice I'm kind of just running straight into packs, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't need to be doing that. I need to be like running and casting. You're just kind of clicking around the screen as you're running around is what you're supposed to be doing. I've just got habits of going from a Cyclone build to a more ranged character that means to be dropping Bane as you're running along. I do see a lot of players running like Soul Rend on their 6th link. Like I said, this being my bossing character, I went ahead and did Bane on the 6th link because that way it's the one that's going to be used most often during boss fights, at least for me. And because of that, that's the one I want to be scaling most of my damage on. I'm going to come back through here after the video and knock out like the Alvas and all that stuff. I just kind of want to show you guys a little bit of play style. It's not the most super fast and compared to something like Cyclone or like your cast on crit novas and stuff like that we've been seeing a lot recently, but it gets the job done, especially when if you want to, I don't know, increase your AoE, which we do take a lot of increased AoE from our tree, but it could even be scaled more if you would like, and it will actually cover more surface area as you're kind of going around. And as you can see, it just kills, and it pretty much kills anything. I've actually noticed on some of the other characters I've been theory crafting, some of the tormented spirits actually provide things like cannot deal crit damage, and being that crit doesn't matter for us, it doesn't really affect us at all. So let's go ahead and just go straight into this boss fight. I know we still got things back there. Like I said, I just want to show you guys how it really plays out. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop my Wither Totem. As you can see, he's taking that damage over time. If I need to, I can just kind of go over here. He went away. There we go. Or she. And then you can also kind of see when he's able to take damage too from that Wither Totem. Able to phase. We'll go ahead and drop this. We're not one-shotting by any means. I actually haven't even been using my flasks. Nice. We can drop Bane, run around, and dead. We can grab our Dark Forest and some good base. And then we'll head back to the hideout. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and clear that. I know everyone's like, oh, you stole the rest of a T16 map. I'll get it. Don't worry. So yeah, so that's how the character plays. Like I said, it's not the most super fast, but gets the job done. If you want to build for League Start, it is a good League Start build, especially when you have a lot of new mechanics being introduced. Actually, you know what? Step into the office for a second. I would highly recommend it. It's one of those builds where if I'm going into a fight that I'm like, I don't know how comfortable I am with this particular fight, these particular mods, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to Gassy Cat. That's the name of this character. And then go ahead and just, because then I know I'm going to clear it. I've cleared everything with this. I've seen some variants that run like staves and stuff like that. I just feel like a good solid crafted wand is just so good. We're also running Vixen's Entrapment, something I did forget to show you. That actually, anytime you do a curse, use a curse skill, it'll auto cast socketed curses. They're a set of gloves, and being that Bane does have the curse tag, it doesn't actually take up a curse slot in your allotted amount of curses. So just kind of a fun fact there. Just off the bat, everyone's allowed one curse. So with Bane, you're actually able to run Bane and then another one because it doesn't take up one of those slots. But anyway, in those gloves, I run Temp Chains and Enfeeble, because Temp Chains is actually going to increase your duration with Bane as well, because the curses that are affected on these bosses are going to then last longer because of Temp Chains itself, and you're getting hit a little bit less harder because you also got Enfeeble going on to them. But anyway, appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been a wild ride. That Cyclone I was talking about, we probably might be dropping a video here soon about that as well. That one, map clear speed and bossing damage is super high, but the survivability, it's a little bit more of a glass cannon. But anyway, if you haven't already, make sure you follow me over on Twitter at Kevin Raisins. I'm gonna have it down below. All these links I'm gonna have down below in the description as well. Join the Discord server, will be down. And then I am part of the U.S. Army's esports team, primarily with Magic the Gathering, as well as content creation. Make sure you guys follow us over at twitch.tv/US Army Esports, as well as now on Mixer. And then my personal channel, where I'll be doing, Path of Exile content, MTG content, or whatever I feel like playing that day, at twitch.tv/Scottoria. And I'll have that down in the description below, as well as the POB. If you want to run this character yourself, by all means, let me know. If you have any kind of questions, feel free to hit me up. I love talking theory craft. And even if you have tips, you're like, hey, if you run this, then what do you think about this? You see this result from it? By all means, I'm always open for concept ideas. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. See you again very soon.